Now let's jump into some specifics. So Dominique, you've had the privilege of working on the sourcing team. And even in your current role right now, you still have connections back to those subject matter experts. So if I was a small business owner, what do I need to know about the sourcing process?
I think I'd first start with the basics, and it seems very remedial, but I think sometimes we just overlook those things.
Right.
And so when we're trying to expand, we need to go back to the basics. So I would first look at the types of sourcing, both direct and indirect sourcing. And a lot of people may think that's a weird definition, or what does that mean? So direct sourcing is anything you're making or buying or procuring to make your product. And then your indirect sourcing is anything that would support that, such as IT infrastructure or even office furniture.
Right.
So anything that's facilitating that production. So I too asked a small medium business owner, Miss Almeda Danielo. She's the owner of Babalu Jewelry, which I have on her beautiful earrings today. And she actually does sell into Europe. So I hope that this can be some good advice. So I asked her, where do you start? What do you think about as you go through your sourcing process? First, she said, what is your goal of going into Europe? And for her, her goal was to create a more diverse customer base. So she's an indigenous-owned company. She hand makes her jewelry. It's made for women to empower them. And so she wanted to tap into that market. So she wanted to expand to Europe. But that came with another set of challenges, which is what resonates with them. So what resonates with an American customer may not resonate with the European customer.
Yeah.
So she had to understand that research, understand the market, understand the costs associated with that and what that looked like. Then she had to think, am I going to continue to make these myself? Do I need to outsource some of these things? And so for a lot of businesses that are scaling up and they're going global, you may need to change suppliers, which means now you have to think about the risk of that supplier. Is that supplier able to sell into Europe? Do they need to ship to you first? Do they have any type of rules or regulations? As Lamar mentioned, we have compliance in Europe. So these suppliers would have to be in compliance with those regulations. So now you have to think through all of that. You have to think through, is your supplier able to provide what you need through various circumstances? So what risk mitigation do you have? As we saw with COVID, borders shut down. And when they shut down, they really shut down. And so now you have to think, do I need to have supply built up here, stateside, or do I need to have some in Europe? Which again complicates everything. From there, you also need to think about now your contracts you have to put in place. And I know contract sounds like the evil word, the thing we don't want to talk about. A lot of people are not attorneys by trade. They're a business owner. They're creatives. So I would suggest hiring someone to do that work for you. But it's important to understand that because now you have to cross the border. So you have to think about customs laws, tax laws. What implications may come with that? Are there additional costs that now you're incurring? And I think that's important as a business owner because you need to know, now am I passing along that cost to my customer? And if so, you need to be able to vocalize it to your customer. Because for me as a customer, I would hate to be purchasing something and realize now that something has an extra fee on it and not know why. So that would not only disrupt your supply chain, but disrupt your customer base and not have a very good customer experience. But all of that, I say all of that to summarize and say you have to have relationships. Relationships are key in any type of business, but now when you're crossing a border, it's even more important to have those relationships. So when tough times hit or when supply chain slows down, you're able to lean on people to make sure you can continue to have a good customer experience.
Yeah.